Again, I'm having a great time exploring the carnivore diet. Uh, one of the things that I'm noticing is there's a few kinds of people who try this. Now, the first thing that I would mention is that ignorance is widespread. Some of the people that I'm seeing who try this are they seem like people who've literally been uh, barely vegan exposed. They're kind of aware that it's a diet, but they're not really. They've never taken into account ethical implications. So, um, I was more talking when talking about the evil of the carnivore diet and those who promote it. I was more talking about uh, the people who are obviously aware. They've gone out of their way to take time to invent apologetics against veganism. These are the truly evil people subscribing to this diet. But there are other kinds who literally they probably were like, you know, just sitting around and saw someone was eating just mountains of meat, and then they're like, what are you doing? And then they're just like, it's the carnivore diet, you just eat meat. And so they give it a try. Here's the thing, and even this kind, um and some other kind, even the more crazy kind, um a lot of them actually know. They know not only is the carnivore diet, um and this is just the root of it. I mean, the they're not taking the core issue into account, which is how unethical this idea is. But they even see it's unsustainable. They openly admit that, and the more intelligent ones can see how stupid it is. They're just like it at best they're looking at a novelty. It's a novelty. It's like, oh yeah, haha, go try just meat for a while. They know that this is a terrible idea for a diet. It's at best, and you know what really appeals to people about the carnivore diet? It's the minimization of selection. There's something really attractive about minimizing the amount of food that you can choose to eat, because people are overwhelmed on a day-to-day basis, meal by meal basis, actually, on what they want to eat. And if you tell them all you can eat is this on this particular diet, they're going to be like, "Oh wow, that makes my choices so much easier now. I know what's healthy." And so this is one reason the carnivore diet has a following at all. So yeah, but more importantly, um, the ethical issue is really it. But one of the things this guy said, that I was listening to, is he's just like, yeah, I feel like savage, like I'm getting in touch with like my caveman side, and I just want to say, um, this idea is it's low vibration. This is like exactly what it looks like when you're trying to degenerate spirit. When you're basically trying to actually, ironically, diminish your masculinity. Because femininity is all about matter. It's about, and I was just listening to Elliot Hulse talk about um, MGTOW and how maternity and matter, the material world, materialism is all connected, and it is. He's absolutely right about that. Or whether or not I agree with him about MGTOW or not, he's absolutely correct about the feminine world being the matrix, the matriarchy, the maternity. It's about material, and that's exactly what we're looking at. I mean, this is baseline. You're trying to boil your experience down to a caveman experience, just grunting and probably, you know, and they love to talk about libido. Yeah, my libido, just your degenerating spirit. That is exactly what the carnivore diet is. You're making your vibration as low as it can possibly go, and that's the thing, is that a lot of women will go for this, like that, and I think that's one of the reasons these guys do it too, because what women tend to do is they take your moral upright character and they say, I want you to be worse than that, just to see if they can manipulate you, just to see if they can control you. Because if you can take a man and you can make him be less moral, less caring, less compassionate, less just, then you can make him do anything. And that's exactly what a woman wants. She wants to know if she can manipulate you. And that's precisely what the carnivore diet is. It's the degeneration of your spirit. It's the degeneration of your integrity. It's the degeneration of everything that makes you masculine. And so it's really funny to see these guys come on here and say, yeah, I feel like a man. You're acting exactly like a punk. That's precisely, and it's lovely to watch women. I was watching a woman interview a guy talking about his, and the dude, I mean, hey, his outsides looked as bad as his insides. He's like, yeah, I just eat meat. He looked like a fucking death-eating corpse, and he's talking about how he only eats meat. Just a disgusting looking person inside and out, you know, and she's overly impressed by his carnivore diet. Why? Because it's the perfect degeneration of moral character. I mean, everyone knows that if you have, at the very least, this is the lowest fucking hanging fruit. At the very least, if you have dark, leafy greens in your diet, you're doing better than anyone who has your diet and is not doing that. And that's exactly what they're doing. They're like, no, if it's not in this one area in my life, I have to be exploiting or hurting something. Otherwise, I want nothing to do with it. Imagine you take that philosophy with anything else. It's insane. It's insane. And the worst part, of course, is that there's no good evidence to suggest why you're doing this. This is how you know that the root is psychopathic insanity, because nobody would do this unless they were fucked in the head. Nobody would invent this without, and it's one thing. It's like, you can say, oh, I'm a pragmatist or something. I'm just doing what's science says for the sake of progress. Science isn't even on your side. You're not being pragmatic. You're being psychopathic. That's the carnivore diet. It's just, just give me whatever is exploiting and hurting animals. It's insane. It's completely, it's the psychopath diet. And to say, oh, I want, because I've heard this, it's, oh, I'll quit eating meat when science says to. Well, even if science isn't directly saying that, which it is, basically, you know that eating only meat without dark leafy greens is absolutely, there's never been any study that has shown that's a good idea. You're just doing it. And it's the same, it's the exact same thought process that you would expect from a psychopath. It's like, I'm gonna go and mow, this is an analogy. I'm gonna go out and mow my lawn. And then someone says, don't do that. Why would you go out and mow your lawn? You're like, well, my grass will get overgrown. Everyone has to mow their lawn, or they get a wild lawn filled with weeds, and it looks really ugly. Okay, well, why don't you try this? Just try this for 30 days. When you go out and mow your lawn, what I want you to do is I want you to make sure that you're adopting a bunch of pets from local shelters, and you're tying them down, and then just roll over them with your lawnmower, and see what that does about mowing your lawn. Why don't you do that? And this is exactly what the carnivore diet is. It's needlessly adding the suffering, exploitation, and death of animals for no good reason. For absolutely no good reason. And that's what these people aren't seeing. That's what you're not seeing. Is that you're not noticing that they're restricting your diet to simply the exploitation and harm of animals and murder and rape and etc. That you're just demanding that be the only thing that composes your diet, and you're doing it on bad evidence or no evidence at all. It is psychopathic. There's nothing good about it, and there's no reason to believe that there is. It's just insanity. And whether or not you're even vegan, I mean, unless you particularly enjoy the exploitation and suffering of animals, there's especially no reason to be doing this. Because you can conceptualize a scientifically formulated superior diet. Otherwise, taking dark leafy greens or broccoli or any other, you can get all kinds of nutraceuticals and micronutrients from plants. Even if you're a meat eater, that's true. So why are you removing all that? The only explanation for this phenomena, because it's not really a diet, it's a psychopathic phenomena masquerading as the carnivore diet. It's fucking insane. So don't pretend. And if you're intelligent, you already know. This isn't a long-term thing. You know it's unsustainable. It's a stint into cruelty and psychopathy. Or a long-term goal if you actually are a psychopath. Don't do this shit. Nothing tastes as good. Nothing tastes better than good karma.